Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. Once again, it is the three middle-aged guys just bullshitting about nothing. I am the Reverend,
The theme here.
Gray Mouse won.
and we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a little odd departure out. As you know, we're all big video game geeks, and as folks who, I don't know, who spent a long time around video games, we know that there are a lot of things that go into video games, aside from controllers and graphics and consoles, that have come up and they've actually been developed pretty much into their own art form. The grand thing about video games as a media is that it does a lot more than just encompass audio and video and gameplay. Video games as a media have become very cinematic, and a lot of times game designers have found out that just like movies, you can leverage sound and music and everything else to create mood and scenarios and situations, and you can actually enhance the game experience for the player by making good use of sound and music, which is kind of what we're going to talk about right now. Not that any of us are musical connoisseurs or musically inclined or gifted or anything, but one of the things that we like talking about, or that we always end up talking about, usually when we end up talking about games we love or anything else, is not always just how it looks and how it played, but also how it sounds. Okay. Well, there's a saying out there, that if you see something, you'll know it, but if you hear something, you're gonna remember it. And sound just goes a long, long way. And in this particular video, we're gonna ramble on for a little bit about games and theme songs and soundtracks that have just they've come and gone, or they've come along and they've stuck with us. They didn't just come and go. They've come along and they've stuck with us. And because of that, it's gone off. We think about video games in the current day. Now that I'm past the long-winded introduction, guys, what are your thoughts? Who wants to throw something out there?
Super Mario Brothers. Enough said. If you're gonna talk about anything, any game with any intro or any type of music, you better throw Super Mario Brothers out there. You gotta throw that first stage in there. You gotta throw. You gotta throw the under the ground, the freaking tunnels. That music wasn't even fucking annoying, even though it's a fucking loop. Those musics were loops, but they didn't get annoying to the point where it's like, let me out. Zelda Dungeon. I hated the Zelda Dungeon music because it was a fucking loop that was a fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I hate it. But Super Mario Brothers is, that's one of them. I got more, but that's one.
I have to agree. All you have to do is just do the first couple of notes of that song, and it's instantly recognizable. Almost instantly recognizable. If anybody who's played any games whatsoever, they know that Mario tune. But for me, I don't know. There's so many good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's instantly recognizable. For me is I'll stick with Super Mario 3.
Great.
No. Great game. One of the better Mario games out there. What's funny is that I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna go really, really simple. One of the games that I just, psychologically speaking, just thinking about how it sits there and it incorporates sounds, it's just so understated and so nondescript. It's almost subliminal in nature. Is the original Space Invaders?
Yep.
The sound of Space Invaders coordinated the game actually.
Dun, 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 dun. And the more that you shoot, the faster they get, and then it just all the way down to the last dead.
Pac-Man's death
I mean, it's really crazy that a lot of people don't like the 8-bit sound chips, or even before that. You know, some of those, like for example, people say that the moon base for DuckTales was the NES pinnacle of sound. That was where,
for 8-bit.
For 8-bit, that was where it was at. That they put as much as they possibly could into that track.
Wait a minute. I have a couple of things about that. Kraid on Metroid, the first one for the NES.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden games, especially Ninja Gaiden 2, there are certain mixes, there are certain musics on those games where it's like, whoa, you know, they put a lot of thought and they put a lot of rhythm, they put a lot of notes in all that. They use each and every bit of 8-bit power to stretch those pieces of music.
What's funny is that a lot of people don't realize that actually that's the same note. It's just at different pitches. That's what 8-bit was back in the day. It was just one, somebody goes to the piano, hits the C button, the C key, and just all they do to change the note on it, all they do is change the pitch. And people didn't realize that. I mean, it's the same note. It's just.
What about 8-bit Nintendo bass? Just about every Nintendo game had it. That had music, just and you knew the bass sound.
Yep. Well, you know, the grand thing about the old school soundtracks and stuff like that is that the guys who were putting together the games and everything, they realized they didn't have, like, I don't know, the 32 channels and the 48-bit fucking sampling that they have today. So they had to sit there and they had a very limited amount of resources to work with. Because of that, when they came up with the compositions and everything for sound, they realized, hey, look, this NES, it can only play so many sounds at one time. I can't sit there and, you know, put together this ornate track. It's just not capable of doing that. And if I do put together this ornate track, all you're going to hear is music, and you're not going to hear actual gameplay.
Yeah.
You know, and because of that, they had to work with very scarce resources, and they had to be really creative on how things actually came through, especially when it became part of the gameplay experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going back to Zelda, okay, there's a reason why every time, you know, you sit there and you kill an enemy on screen, the music stops for just that fraction of a second.
Yep.
Okay? Because it can only handle so many sounds on screen. You know? It's one of those things that makes the old compositions really, 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 really impressive. For instance, Contra as a soundtrack, fucking great. If you want to hear what it could sound like, just look up the mini bosses on YouTube and listen to the Contra soundtrack, the Contra arrangement for the mini bosses.
Same thing with Ninja Gaiden with the mini bosses.
Yep. You know,
there's a lot of bands that, you know, were inspired by gaming and video games and stuff like that, and that will actually remake video game music into their own compositions, and that are very, very impressive.
Yep.
And it's like OC Remix. There are people that will just remix things and just put that on there.
Yeah. Yep. I mean,
from the 8-bit thing, from the arcade thing, then there's 16-bit eras. There's so many games that we could just name. Donkey Kong Country is one of them. Aquatic Ambience sticks in here like there's no tomorrow.
Yep.
That music was something else. I mentioned the Ninja Gaiden series on the NES. But even sounds like Pac-Man's Death or Double Dribble's Ball, dum 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 dum, something like that really freaking stands out. Most of Konami's sound really stands out.
I mean, some of the most for Castlevania, some of the like the original game, that was just soundtrack on that thing is insane. You know, Bloody Tears for Castlevania 2. It's just, I don't know. You got what else? You got Secret of Mana, the Final Fantasies. You know, like you said, Donkey Kong Country, Star Fox. You got all these games that, in the 8-bit, 16-bit era, that you know, the soundtrack is just insane.
Yep. I mean, if you really want to go ahead and go out of your way to look at somebody who made their career just on 16-bit soundtracks, Yuzo Koshiro, the guy who did the composition and did all of the tracks for all of the Streets of Rage games, just motherfucking awesome. And he worked on other titles. I believe he did a few titles for Enix back in the day. Also, I think he actually did the soundtrack for ActRaiser 2. Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things where it was like, again, he knew his media and he knew what he was putting together. And when he put together his soundtracks for these particular games, he had an idea. Hey, this is the stage. This is what we're going for. This is the mood. This is what I want to put together, and it was awesome. It was awesome. You know?
One thing we failed to mention was like Street Fighter. You know, everybody knows Gao's theme, Ryu's theme, Ken's theme.
Goes with everything. Yeah. Yep.
Pretty much.
Goes with everything.
I mean, there's a reason for that. That's why people say that. Gao's theme could go with anything.
Yep.
Just, you know, it's instantly recognizable.
The music that does stand out from that is Ryu's, for the most part, from Street Fighter. That's iconic. Whenever you hear that, you think of that freaking moon being passed by. You think of that stage. I mean, fuck, man. Halo. That's a soundtrack that even sets mood. That it's funny how games like Metroid, Castlevania, the Halo series, some of those games just set mood. It's like, wow, dude, you will actually get gripped into the game even more because of what's going on and what music is playing at the time. Love me some Covenant Dance.
I was gonna say Covenant Dance. That's I just love the drum.
Love me some Covenant fucking Dance, man. If you play the Halo series, you gotta love the Covenant.
I mean, like you said, and then you got, speaking of mood, you got Resident Evil. I mean, the mood of that game, you know, even the Tomb Raiders, you know, it's like, whoa. Yeah. You know, I was like, okay, you know, you do feel like an adventurer.
Yeah.
I love certain games on certain beat 'em ups, like Streets of Rage and the Final Fight series.
Final Fights, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the things like Resident Evil and Tomb Raider and stuff like that, they really did, They really did benefit from the fact that the media that games were on moved from cartridges over to CD, in which case it was like, hey, the CD quality sound, it's not a pipe dream or it's not a lofty goal. It's now the standard, and people could go ahead and they could use that to run tracks in the background. One of the games that has an absolutely awesome soundtrack, especially for the time, was Loaded. The original Loaded for
Loaded. Oh my god, for the PlayStation. Love that game.
Yep. I mean that original opening where they have it going on is just awesome. Another game that really benefited greatly from CD sound, and in fact, it might be one of the only reasons to actually go ahead and play the game, because every time I pick it up and I play it, I'm able to get someplace, but I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing whenever I'm playing it, is Echo the Dolphin on Sega CD.
Echo the Dolphin.
Speaking of which, not of Echo the Dolphin, but shoot 'em ups. I mean, it's always kind of a jazzy, upbeat.
No, wait a minute. What shoot 'em up has bad music, if any? Or fucked up music that just totally takes you out of the game? I can't name one. Mm-hmm. Not at the top of my head where I'm like, this music sucks. Not all shoot 'em ups. No, one game that I'm going to mention. I mean, two games specifically, fighting game genres. Killer Instinct is one of them. You gotta understand that Killer Instinct was one of those games where music and stages really fucking mattered.
Yeah.
Then there was the Street Fighter 3 series, specifically Third Strike. They really took their time to see what music they were going to put with who. Because, again, music sets tone, music sets mood. And if you listen to the music and you're looking at a character, you're like, yeah, that goes with that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just totally brilliant how those two fucking fighting games alone did such a thing. Capcom and music went hand in hand with a lot of their games. Ghosts and Goblins.
Yep.
The Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins series, for one. You have the Street Fighter series, the Darkstalker series.
Oh,
even
yeah.
Marvel Superheroes. If you play those games, you listen to all the music, you're like, wow, yeah,
Power Stone.
Power Stone. Power Stone 3, Rival Schools 3, please.
I mean, it's even
Mega Man.
even with RPGs. I mean, like the Final Fantasies. I've never played a Final Fantasy that had bad music in it. It's always had, great music, very well thought out, tracks.
It's funny because
Chrono.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny how, certain games, especially in the 8-bit era, would have music loops playing over and over again, good or bad, like pro wrestling.
Well, what about that horrible music for Kung Fu? All it is like a baritone. I was like, no. I mean, thankfully the game worked good. The mechanics were good, but the music just sucked. When you died, it made that awful, and you fall off. Or that it's kind of a boing type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what the hell? What's that?
Even something simple like rhythmic, like the spider on Centipede.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about simple sound design. Another game that just kind of I would not remember this game really otherwise, as far as soundtracks go, or excuse me, as far as games go, other than the fact that it's really obscure game that I don't see talked about anywhere, is Incredible Crisis. Crisis on the PlayStation. It was put out for like 1999. Great fucking soundtrack. The opening theme is called "The Goods Must Be Crazy," right? Which is a riff off of "The Gods Must Be Crazy," which is an old movie from the 80s, and it's done by a band called the Imperial Japanese Ska Orchestra. Okay, like I said, this soundtrack is stuck to me so much that I know the band that does the fucking theme song, and it's just great. And it's just not the opening, but every fucking stage is like that. Another game that stuck out that was also a 1999 budget title, but absolutely has one of the best fucking soundtracks that I've ever heard. And granted, it's not for everybody, and it is very Japanese, is Katamari Damacy.
I do give Katamari. I do give that game credit, a lot of credit.
I mean, I can sit there and I can listen to Katamari in my fucking car, and I have no qualms listening to that fucking soundtrack.
Speaking of which, I'll never forget when I was in Japan and people were playing, not just one, I've heard this on multiple occasions, where people were rolling down the street playing the soundtrack of Parappa the Rapper. I am dead fucking serious. People were playing that soundtrack, different tracks. And I'm just like, these motherfuckers have this soundtrack and they're bumping this hip hop shit.
Yep.
Hip hop shit. Another game that the only time this game plays music is when you're moving. Dig Dug.
Dig Dug.
You only heard music for the most part when you're walking. If you stop, you don't hear music. You'll hear sounds of certain other things depending, but you don't hear music unless you're walking.
Yep.
And one thing that we skipped over was Shamu.
I wasn't going to skip over that.
That's some of that's grossing. Just the soundtrack's highly recommended.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
We can probably go ahead and rattle on. One of the things that we wanted to go out there and impress is that there are certain games that are out there that maybe you don't exactly remember how it having the best graphics out there, but for some reason it stuck with you for a long time. And a lot of times what will stick with you is that like we said at the outset of this particular video, is not just how it plays but also how it sounds. Because one of the easiest ways to evoke any sort of emotion or mood as far as what's going on is just a subtle soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
In the background,
right? Soundtracks. Yeah, that it's funny how even in the late 70s or the early 80s, primitive sound is still remembered. Some of it annoying, like Burger Time. That was kind of annoying, that loop, because it was funny how it was like a 6 or 7 second loop, maybe 8 seconds, 9 seconds tops.
Yeah.
Right. It's still remembered, kind of annoying, but it's still remembered to this day.
What about that god awful?
Was one of those too.
What about that god awful Pac-Man? For the
Atari 600?
That ting tong 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 ting 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 dong dong dong.
Nothing about that game was right. The tunnels were on north and south.
We've talked about good soundtracks. I mean, we might as well talk about the other side as well.
Okay, Pit Fighter.
Annoying.
Pit Fighter for the SNES. Enough said. It only had one piece of music through the whole fucking game. Done. Pit Fighter SNES. That's it. That I don't think they get much worse than that to me.
Like you said before, I mean, I'm a huge Zelda fan, but yeah, the dungeons and the first Zelda, it was really annoying.
But at least they had
a little bit.
At least they had a deftone meaning to it, and it was supposed to do it, and okay, it served its purpose. Yeah. Pit Fighter for the SNES, it was just one fucking track.
Yeah.
Echoed over and over again, and it sucked.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain games out there that it's like the thing about it is that when it comes to bad soundtracks, I'm having a hard time pulling any to my mind, but that's probably because my mind is actually actively trying to forget that they even fucking exist.
There are certain things I couldn't forget, and that's why I named one of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's just it's just odd. I mean, because when we sit down and we talk about soundtracks and everything, I automatically go back to sit there and think about things that are pretty memorable. Like when you guys were talking about some of the old games, one of the ones that popped up to mind right now, just right off the bat, was Wizards and Warriors.
Oh yeah. Yep. I was playing that.
Trunk theme. The Tree Trunk. Hey, look.
Yep.
You know what it sounds like if you're on my channel by now. The Tree Trunk theme. Wizards and Warriors.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes.
Again, one of those things that just kind of sticks in your mind. And yeah, as far as it had one of the more intricate soundtracks, and there are portions of the game that literally all you could hear is the music that's playing. You don't hear the fucking sound effects of the game.
Nope.
Like I said, we're dealing with hardware limitations.
There were musics for the potions that you grabbed.
Yeah.
There was music when you had low energy.
Yep.
That's annoying.
That was annoying.
But hey, you had low energy. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
And I like some of the one thing too is like, for example, I keep going back to Zelda. I don't know why, but like over
You don't know why.
over the course of the Zelda games, they change. It still retains that Zelda song.
Mario is the same way.
Yeah, they just retain it and they just jazz it up or jazz it down or make it different for each time.
Capcom did that too.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
One thing that really stuck to my mind too was that was completely off in left field in the Mario series was Mario 2, the overworld for Mario 2. It's very, very jazzy, and it's completely different from the normal Marios that you hear.
Yeah.
And
well, we know why, because it wasn't originally a Mario game. That's why.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't.
What else? A Konami game, Top Gun. I liked it because of the Top Gun theme.
It actually had that.
Yep. When you put your cartridge in, it actually did the Top Gun theme.
Okay.
That's very memorable. I played that game a lot. I really did. I played the hell out of that game. I mean, in fact, I beat it. I mean, how many people could say that?
It's funny because even music. It's funny because even music, they play music when you die in a lot of games.
You're thinking Spy Hunter, aren't you?
Say again?
I said you're thinking Spy Hunter, aren't you?
Oh my God, Spy Hunter!
You knew I was going there. I hate that. I used to beat my controller to the ground to that.
I hate that damn song.
Because and I throw the controller because that was the only time you heard that fucking music is when you died.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man. Oh God, shit.
See, we've been talking about consoles, but on the PC there are some good games.
Yeah.
With music, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you start playing like the JRPGs and the MMOs, like World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Guild Wars. It's just there's a lot of soundtracks.
Let me put this one out there, and a lot of people may know the title, but they may not have played the title. But I think the soundtrack is absolutely fucking awesome. Not only that, but it's accompanied by some really smart and snarky dialogue. Is Bard's Tale that In Exile put out in like 2004, 2005. Great fucking game. And it's when you sit there and you walk around, they went ahead, they had the soundtrack in mind for the game, so much so that you're the bard and the bard sings, and him singing and doing things is part of his thing. But when you play through the story of the game and you do certain things, well, depending on your actions and what you do, there are multiple paths and certain subquests and stuff like that. There's a particular goblin that follows you around during the whole game, right? And when you run into him at the beginning of every chapter, he sits there and he summarizes in song all the things that you've done previously. And it's fucking awesome because if you play a little bit differently, the lyrics are different.
The song changes. Yeah.
It's so great. I mean, not only that, but you have the tavern songs, the random goblin tribes that are sitting there singing like dinner songs and shit like that. It's so fucking awesome.
Phoenix Wright.
I knew that was coming.
The pieces of music that are in that, whether you're investigating or whether you're on trial, I mean, all those pieces of music goes with what's going on. It's just, fucking damn, man. Look, we can go on about this for hours, but there is just too many fucking pieces of music out there for too many fucking games. that just stand out. It's just fucking ridiculous. We didn't even mention Sonic. You know, Sonic's 1, 2, and 3. I didn't even mention Maximum Carnage for the Super Nintendo.
What about
Sonic
this?
CD.
What about this? Nights into Dreams.
Nights, yes, and more. Yes, you fucking Bejeweled 3. If you ever
Bejeweled
played that
3.
game, listen to all the fucking music tracks on that fucking game alone.
Bejeweled 2 also.
Bejeweled 2, yeah, but not
More so Bejeweled 3, yeah.
That's just, I mean, fuck. Bejeweled 3.
I mean,
Bejeweled 3.
yeah, I mean, we could sit there and throw things out, and believe me, people are going to go ahead and if you don't know what we're talking about, just YouTube other videos with, YouTube of the titles that we're talking about, and
Please.
you'll probably get something stuck in your head. Believe me. All right.
Some of the annoying ones too.
Yeah.
Mind you.
I'm not even going to mention the Bust a Move series for PlayStation.
Yeah, I did forget about those.
Yeah. But, like I said at the outset of this particular video, we are geeks. We appreciate video games. And it's not just for the fact that we're, mindless losers drooling in front of our TVs while fucking around with our thumbs. All right. That's not us. All right. We are middle-aged guys. We are adults. Yes. And all of us are actually married, and we have our own places to live and all of that. But, part of the media that we enjoy so much, not just the visuals, but also the sounds, is that soundtrack and those theme songs. That's
Legacy of Kain Defiance. Damn it.
Yep.
Separate tracks for Kain and Raziel.
Yep.
That set mood.
Oh, man.
Hell
Legacy
yeah.
of Kain.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of what makes us gamers. One of the things that we appreciate. With that, any final thoughts before we cut the video off, guys? Because I know we could probably ramble on for another 40 minutes if we're
Ridge Racers, Wipeout. I could go on and on racing games. I can go on and on fighting games.
Oh, yeah. F-Zero.
Fuck. And you wonder why there are certain games that ends up in people's collections is because of shit like this.
Super Mario Kart.
It's not just it's not just this game plays good, but no, people get captivated and captured into the music, the sounds of the fucking games, and these tracks are just remembered, and that will make motherfuckers go back to the damn game and play them just to hear specific pieces of music.
I mean, there's a reason why that you can search any of these titles that we mentioned on the on YouTube, and you can find their soundtracks. There's a reason why somebody uploaded the soundtracks onto YouTube, because they're outstanding. And my closing thoughts for this is that, like I always say, music in itself is its own story. It could tell a story. It could tell you what you're feeling, how you are integrated into the game. It could really bring you in the game, and if it's really shitty, it could take you out of the game. So music is vital in a video game, especially in today's age.
Yeah, Pit Fighter, shitty game, shitty music, shitty title, Super Nintendo, don't play it. It's fucked up that I'll actually listen to Tetris music because it's catchy, and it goes on with what you're doing faster than I would play certain other games.
Oh yeah, Dr. Mario.
Oh yeah. Give me chill.
Cookie.
Give me chill on Dr. Mario.
Yoshi's Cookie
would give me chill.
RBI baseball. There's
all right. Before we go on and we just keep on spinning out random titles for the next 30 minutes, because that's exactly what we're going to end up doing. I'm going to go ahead and cut the bullshit here. All right. Like I say at the end of every video, folks, thank you for following us all the way up to the end. If you're so kind, hit the like button, hit subscribe, make a comment below, especially if there's like some other soundtrack or some other game that you memorized just for the sounds. Hey, we're definitely willing to go ahead and visit that. All right.
Tell us what you like.
Yeah, exactly. With that, we are the three middle-aged guys. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And Gray Mouse 1.
once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and music in gaming. Great music and some fucked up ones like Pit Fighter for Super Nintendo. Credits.
Some of the music in gaming is so great, it ends up as pro wrestlers' theme songs. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.